What if I told you that one of the most iconic voices in music history, Barry White, took a terrible secret with him to the grave, one that Hollywood has kept hidden all these years? It's a story no one expected, and it sheds a whole new light on the life and legacy of the Maestro of Love. As much as we adored his soulful sound, there's a darker side to the legend, something that no one has the courage to tell the truth about him. Therefore, don't miss this video because we will be the ones to reveal everything. Let's get started. You won't believe this wild story from Barry White, but at just 16 years old, he faced a significant turning point in his life when he was imprisoned for 4 months due to a brazen act of theft. He stole $30,000 worth of Cadillac tires. This audacious crime, which would be equivalent to roughly $310,000 today, marked a pivotal moment in White's life, setting off a chain of events that would eventually lead him to a successful career in the entertainment industry. His early teenage years were likely fraught with the recklessness and impulsivity common in adolescence, but this experience would force him to confront the consequences of his actions and reconsider his life path. While serving his sentence, White found solace in the music that wafted through the prison walls, particularly the sounds of Elvis Presley. One song that resonated deeply with him was "It's Now or Never." The lyrics and the powerful delivery of the song struck a chord with White, who later reflected on this moment as a crucial turning point. Listening to Presley ignited a spark of inspiration within him, offering a glimpse of a life that was vibrant and full of possibility, contrasting sharply with his current reality. It was more than just a catchy tune. It became an anthem for change and motivation, encouraging him to aspire for a future beyond the confines of his present circumstances. As he was released from jail and approached his 18th birthday, another significant moment awaited him. This day coincided with the first day back at school for his graduating year. However, rather than attend class, White felt an overwhelming urge to venture into the heart of Hollywood. Driven by a newfound ambition, he walked to Capitol Records headquarters, a place he viewed as a gateway to the entertainment industry. Upon arriving, he stood across the street, captivated by the bustling energy around him. For hours he remained there, simply observing the flurry of activity. The lively atmosphere filled him with a sense of possibility and a desire to be part of the magic happening in Hollywood. He was entranced by the idea of making music and working in the entertainment industry, even though he had no formal training or knowledge of how to read or write music. This moment of reflection and ambition was crucial. It marked the birth of his dream, revealing a profound yearning to break free from his past and contribute to a world that he found both intimidating and exhilarating. Continuing the haunting story of Barry White, we cannot ignore his troubled marriages. His first marriage was to his childhood sweetheart, a woman he refers to simply as Mary in his autobiography. This relationship, blossoming in the innocence of youth, culminated in their marriage when White was just 19 years old. This decision reflected not only the youthful exuberance common in first loves, but also the hopefulness of embarking on life's journey together. However, by 1969, their paths began to diverge, leading to their separation and eventual divorce. The reasons for their split remain largely unspoken in White's narratives, perhaps indicating the challenges many young couples face when navigating the transition from adolescence into adulthood, especially under the pressures of an evolving career and public life. Following the dissolution of his first marriage, White found love again in 1974 when he married Glodian James, a talented singer in her own right. Their union was not only personal, but also professional, as the couple collaborated musically, producing the album Barry and Glodian in 1981. This collaboration highlighted the blend of their personal and artistic lives, showcasing their shared talents and mutual respect for one another's work. Their creative synergy was evident, and the album was well received, allowing both artists to explore new dimensions of their artistry while solidifying their partnership in the music industry. However, like many relationships, their marriage was not without its challenges. Reports of their separation surfaced in 1988, marking a tumultuous period for the couple. Despite their separation, White and Glodian maintained a complex relationship. They continued to be legally married until White's passing in 2003, even though they lived separate lives for over a decade. This unusual arrangement speaks volumes about the intricacies of love, commitment, and the ties that bind individuals together, even when they may be emotionally distant. The nature of their relationship evolved as they navigated the ups and downs of life apart. While they were estranged, Glodian's role shifted from that of a partner to that of an executor of White's estate after his death. The decision to designate her as the sole executor of his estate speaks to the enduring bond they shared, despite the years of separation. It suggests that, at some level, there was an acknowledgement of her importance in his life and career, a recognition that transcended the boundaries of marital status. Another notable detail regarding Barry White's marriages is that he had at least 9 children, each of whom played a part in his personal story and, in some cases, his professional endeavors. White's journey into fatherhood began at a young age. By the time he was 16, he had already fathered 2 children with his first wife, Mary. This early start in parenting added layers of responsibility to his youth, perhaps shaping his aspirations and guiding his decisions as he navigated the complexities of fame and family. White and Mary ultimately had 4 children together, creating a family unit that was influenced by both the pressures of White's burgeoning career and the challenges of their relationship. The dynamic within the family was complicated. While White worked tirelessly to build his career, the demands of being a young father likely weighed heavily on him. The evolution of his family life reflects a typical narrative of many young parents balancing dreams and responsibilities, making sacrifices for the sake of their children. However, the relationship dynamics shifted over the years. In 2017, White's son, Daryl White, from his first marriage, took legal action against his father's estate, claiming he had been financially cut off. This lawsuit shed light on the complexities of family relationships, especially in the wake of a parent's passing. It indicated that despite the apparent bond of blood, the realities of life, money, fame, and legacy can create rifts even within families. Daryl's legal battle suggests that financial security and familial bonds can sometimes be at odds, raising questions about the responsibilities parents hold toward their children and the legacies they leave behind. White's second marriage to Glodian James further expanded his family. Together, they welcomed 4 children, enriching their family life with additional layers of love and complexity. Their daughter, Shahara, took on a significant role in her father's life as his personal assistant. This professional relationship also reflects a deep familial connection, highlighting the ways in which White's children engaged with his career and the music industry. In addition to Shahara, Barry White Jr. played in the Love Unlimited Orchestra and also served as his father's tour manager. This dual role demonstrates the strong bond and trust between father and son, as well as Barry Jr.'s desire to follow in his father's musical footsteps. Working closely with his father not only provided him with valuable experience in the industry, but also allowed him to forge a personal connection through a shared passion. Another one of White's sons, McKevin, contributed to his father's legacy through work in publishing administration. This role suggests a practical engagement with the business side of White's career, allowing him to protect and promote his father's artistic contributions. The involvement of his children in various aspects of his career underscores the importance of family ties, where professional and personal lives intertwine, creating a supportive network around White's artistic endeavors. One of the most poignant stories that we cannot ignore is that of his daughter, Denise Donnell, born in 1962 to Gertha Allen. Denise's early life was shaped by a sense of uncertainty regarding her biological father. For many years, she lived without knowing that Barry White was her father, and it wasn't until 1988, when she was already an adult, that this truth came to light. The discovery must have been a life-altering moment for Denise, as she learned that her father was not just any man, but a world-renowned music icon. White, upon discovering that Denise was his daughter, accepted her into his life, a significant and meaningful gesture that likely helped to bridge the years of estrangement. With his assistance, Denise was able to change her name to Denise White, solidifying her connection to him and his legacy. This moment of acceptance was an important one, not only for Denise but for White as well, as it demonstrated his willingness to embrace his responsibilities as a father and include her in his familial circle, despite the years of lost time. However, like many aspects of Barry White's personal life, his relationship with Denise and the complexities surrounding it did not end with their reunion. After White's death in 2003, his estate became the subject of several legal disputes, one of which involved Denise. In 2016, she sued White's estate after the financial support she had been receiving was suddenly cut off. This legal action highlights the delicate balance between family relationships and financial matters, particularly when a high-profile individual passes away. Denises lawsuit reflected her claim that, as his daughter, she was entitled to continued support from the estate. The situation also underscores the potential difficulties faced by children of public figures, especially in cases where financial dependencies are in place and the expectations of family members are not always met after the death of the family patriarch. Another complicated chapter in White's life emerged with the claims made by his girlfriend at the time of his death, Katherine Denton. After White passed in 2003, Denton came forward with significant claims regarding her infant daughter, Barryana, asserting that the child was White's biological daughter. This claim, if true, would have had profound implications for White's estate, especially since Barryana would have been entitled to inherit as his biological child. Denton also claimed that White had promised her certain personal items and money, adding further layers to the dispute surrounding his estate. However, the situation became more contentious when a paternity test revealed that White was not Barryana's biological father. This revelation not only disproved Denton's claims regarding the child, but also had significant legal ramifications. Without the biological connection, Denton's claims for financial support and personal items were rendered invalid, and she ultimately lost her court case. This legal battle reflects the complications that can arise when individuals connected to high-profile figures make claims after their death, often in situations where paternity or promises are disputed. Closing the stories about Barry White's family, it's time to discuss his health condition before his death, which is of most concern to many people. Reportedly, for most of his adult life, White battled obesity, a condition that greatly impacted his well-being. He reportedly weighed as much as 375 pounds, 170 kilograms, a weight that not only took a toll on his physical health, but likely exacerbated underlying conditions. White's size and health were part of his public persona, but behind his imposing figure, there were significant challenges brewing. In addition to his weight issues, White was a heavy smoker, consuming around 150 cigarettes a day at the height of his smoking habit. Such an extraordinary amount of tobacco use undoubtedly contributed to his declining health in his later years, placing immense strain on his heart and lungs. Smoking at that level also heightens the risk of various health problems, including respiratory diseases, cardiovascular issues, and complications related to the kidneys. It is likely that his smoking habit, along with his weight, played a critical role in the health crises he faced in his final years. By 2003, White's health had deteriorated to the point where he required dialysis treatments due to kidney failure. His kidneys, crucial for filtering waste and balancing fluids in the body, could no longer function on their own. He was placed on dialysis, a process that substitutes for the kidneys by removing waste from the blood, which kept him alive while awaiting a kidney transplant. However, White's condition worsened before a suitable kidney could be found, a testament to the difficulty of navigating the complex process of organ donation and transplantation, particularly for those with other health complications. In May of 2003, while still undergoing dialysis, White suffered a severe stroke, which forced him to retire from public life. The stroke further complicated his already precarious health situation. It marked the beginning of a tragic end for White, as strokes are often linked to high blood pressure, obesity, and smoking, conditions that White had struggled with for much of his life. His stroke debilitated him, and in his last weeks, he also suffered multiple seizures, which likely compounded his already declining condition. These seizures further diminished his hope of recovery, rendering him unable to receive the kidney transplant he so desperately needed. White's health challenges ultimately culminated in his passing on July 4, 2003, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. His death at 58 years old was the result of cardiac arrest, a sudden cessation of heart function often caused by heart disease, another condition aggravated by his obesity and heavy smoking. Cardiac arrest is a swift and often unexpected event, and despite the medical efforts to stabilize him, White's heart gave out, unable to endure the cumulative effects of his various ailments. Barry White's death marked the end of a life filled with musical triumphs and personal struggles. His deep, resonant voice and timeless music left an indelible mark on the music industry. But behind the scenes, his body had been fighting a prolonged and losing battle with his lifestyle choices and genetic predispositions. The tragedy of his early death lies in the fact that his health issues, many of which were preventable or manageable, cut short a life that had brought joy and inspiration to so many. After his passing, White's remains were cremated, and his ashes were scattered in the ocean off the California coast. A serene and fitting farewell for a man whose music flowed so smoothly and touched the hearts of millions. The act of scattering his ashes into the Pacific Ocean symbolized a final release from the burdens he had carried, both physically and emotionally, during his lifetime. Barry White's legacy as a groundbreaking artist continued to be celebrated long after his death in 2003. His impact on music, particularly within the genres of soul, R&B, and dance, has been recognized and honored in multiple ways. One such posthumous recognition came on September 20, 2004, when White was inducted into the Dance Music Hall of Fame during a ceremony held in New York City. This induction was a fitting tribute to White's contributions to the music world, particularly his ability to fuse romantic ballads with rhythmic grooves that set the stage for dance floor classics. White's music, characterized by his deep baritone voice and lush orchestral arrangements, was often played at clubs and parties, making his induction into the Dance Music Hall of Fame a natural acknowledgement of his enduring influence. Nearly a decade later, on September 12, 2013, White was posthumously awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The date was chosen to coincide with what would have been his 69th birthday. White's star, the 2,506th, to be placed on the famous boulevard, is located at 6914 Hollywood Boulevard, a prime location for one of the music industry's most iconic voices. This honor in the category of recording recognizes White's immense contributions to the music world, where his songs became synonymous with love, romance, and intimacy. His smooth, sensuous tracks such as Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe, and You're the First, the Last, My Everything solidified his reputation as the Maestro of Love ballads. Receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame was not only a nod to his commercial success, but also an acknowledgement of his cultural impact, which transcended generations. The emotional impact of White's death was felt deeply by his fans and the music community, but it also led to touching tributes, including one by the popular television show Counting Cars. In an episode dedicated to White's memory, the show paid homage to him by restoring the last car he owned, a special project carried out for his widow, Glodian James. This act of love and respect was a personal tribute, allowing Glodian to hold on to a cherished memory of her late husband. The restored vehicle became more than just a piece of machinery. It symbolized White's larger-than-life persona, his love for luxury, and the enduring bond he shared with Glodian. White's legacy as the Walrus of Love was affectionately highlighted in an obituary by the BBC, which praised his voice as one of the most distinctive of his generation. The BBC likened his voice to chocolate fudge cake, a metaphor that perfectly captured the rich, velvety timbre of his baritone. This description aptly conveyed the indulgent, almost decadent quality of White's music, which made listeners feel wrapped in warmth and passion. His voice, layered over lush orchestral arrangements, brought romance into millions of homes and continues to resonate with audiences long after his passing. The Walrus of Love was a nickname that reflected not only his commanding presence, but also his ability to evoke deep emotions through his music. Further cementing his place in music history, in 2023, Barry White was ranked at number 56 on Rolling Stone's list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. This list, a definitive ranking of the most influential and powerful voices in music, placed White among the all-time greats. His inclusion at such a prestigious position on the list speaks volumes about his vocal prowess and the lasting impact of his work. Another aspect that few people know, while Barry White is best known for his iconic love songs and smooth baritone voice in his musical performances, he also lent his unique vocal talents to voiceover work for television, movies, and commercials. His involvement in these projects not only showcased his versatility as a performer, but also solidified his status as a cultural figure whose voice transcended the world of music. One of White's earlier ventures into voiceover work came in 1975 when he voiced the character Brother Bear in the animated film Coonskin, directed by Ralph Bakshi. The film was controversial at the time for its satirical take on race and society, but White's distinctive voice helped bring depth to his character. The role showcased White's ability to shift from his usual musical persona to something more dynamic within the realm of animated cinema. His deep, commanding voice lent a unique tone to the character, and his contribution to the film, though relatively small compared to his music career, added another layer to his artistic repertoire. By the mid-1990s, White began exploring more commercial work, and his voice became a popular choice for advertisers looking to add gravitas, smoothness, and familiarity to their campaigns. In 1995, White took on the role of a bus driver in a Prodigy commercial. Prodigy, an online service provider at the time, used White's presence to draw attention to their campaign, banking on his cultural relevance and charm. His distinctive voice and charismatic screen presence turned what could have been a mundane advertisement into something memorable and engaging. Perhaps one of his most amusing forays into the world of commercials was his role as the voice of a rabbit in a Good Season's salad dressing mix advertisement. In this commercial, White's character sang a playful song titled "You Can't Bottle Love." The ad cleverly played on White's persona as the Walrus of Love, contrasting his seductive voice with the whimsical character of a rabbit. This unique blend of humor and White's sultry voice made the commercial a hit, leaving a lasting impression on audiences and further cementing White's reputation as a voice that could sell just about anything, whether it was love or salad dressing. In addition to salad dressing, White's unmistakable voice was tapped for car commercials. His deep and rich vocal tone was used in advertising campaigns for Oldsmobile and later Jeep, two iconic American car brands. The gravitas of his voice helped create a sense of reliability, luxury, and confidence in these vehicles, aligning perfectly with the image these car brands sought to convey. His involvement in these campaigns was another testament to how his voice had become synonymous with sophistication and trust. One of White's more notable commercial endeavors was his work for Arbys Restaurant, where he provided voiceovers for both television and radio ads to promote the chain's market-fresh menu. White's warm, familiar voice brought a sense of indulgence to the advertisements, making the food items seem as rich and satisfying as his famous ballads. The commercial campaigns with White's voice were widely recognized, as he had a way of making even the simplest menu items sound irresistible. White's rich baritone could also be heard in Apple's first iBook commercial. As one of the earliest laptop computers from Apple, the iBook needed a campaign that would make an impact. White's voice lent an air of authority and innovation to the advertisement, aligning with Apple's image of sleek design and cutting-edge technology. His involvement in the tech world through this commercial further demonstrated his widespread appeal across different industries. Beyond commercials and films, White also made notable appearances on television. Perhaps one of the most memorable of these appearances came on the popular comedy drama series Ally McBeal. White made 3 guest appearances on the show, which aired from 1997 to 2002. His music was often featured in the show's iconic dream sequences, adding a layer of romance and charm to the quirky, whimsical nature of the series. The choice to include Barry White's music in Ally McBeal was a perfect fit for the show's unique tone, and his guest appearances were highly celebrated by fans and critics alike. His voice, already iconic in the world of romance and love songs, enhanced the show's most poignant and comedic moments. In one particular episode, a dance routine to White's hit song, "You're the First, the Last, My Everything," became one of the series' most memorable scenes, adding a sense of fun and nostalgia to the narrative. What do you think about Barry White's secret stories? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.